Hello, coolers. Welcome back to Viva Barca and welcome to another interesting episode where we are going to be discussing on the latest stories. We start with Ousmane Dembele as PSG are reportedly very serious in activating Dembele's 50 million euro release clause in order to replace Mbappe if the superstar leaves PSG. We are going to be discussing on that as we progress. Then secondly, talking about Pedri Gonzalez as the key Barcelona star confirms his availability for pre-season friendly against Juventus. We are also going to be discussing on that. So guys, as we get right into the stories in much detail, please do ensure to subscribe if you haven't. Turn on the post bell notification to always stay notified whenever I post a new video. Consider liking the video and please watch it right up to the very end. In a major development, Paris Saint-Germain have made Barcelona forward Usman DembELE their priority for the summer. If Kylian Mbappe leaves the club, the Parisian Giants are willing to meet Dembele's 50 million release clause in order to sign him, according to a new report. Paris Saint-Germain have been attentive to the situation for Usman Dembele for a while now. The Ligue 1 Giants are interested in signing the player as well last year when his contract with Barca had run out, but he ended up signing up a new deal with Barcelona until 2024. Dembele's current contract with the club expires in the summer of 2024 and contains release clause now currently worth 50 million euros that is active this summer. So it must be noted that as per the terms of that contract, Barca will receive only 50% of the release clause amount should any team activate it, with the rest going to the player and the agent. And the PSG are now understood to be very ready to trigger that clause this summer so that they can sign Ousmane Dembele, possibly as a replacement for Kylian Mbappe. The Parisian Giants director, Luis Campos, has had his eyes on Ousmane for a while now and wanted to sign him or to partner up him with Dembele since last summer. But with the latter appearing likely to leave this summer, the Barca ace is now being looked at as a priority by PSG's owners in Qatar. Furthermore, new manager Luis Enrique is understood to be an admirer of Usman Dembele and sees the winger as one of the best in the world in his position. As such, a move is now being planned in the French capital. But Dembele has stated that he is very happy at Barca and that talks are ongoing over a new contract until 2027. More recently, there has been even a meeting between the winger's agent, Musa Sissoko, and the club director Deco, during which the representative reiterated the player's stance of wanting to continue at Barcelona. So, Barcelona can be calm about the situation, although they could be much more relieved if Ousmane Dembele signs new contract at the earliest with the 50 million euro release clause removed from the deal. Of course, Ousmane Dembele's future remains uncertain. Of course, recent reports have been talking about PSG's interest in Ousmane Dembele as the player faces uncertain future, but reports continue to say Dembele still prioritizes staying at Barca despite PSG's interest, despite the high offers that PSG will potentially bring on the table, which is quite tempting, but the player is still adamant to staying at Barca. Of course, Dembele has been a great player for Barcelona, especially since Xavi Hernandez took the reins as manager in November 2021. Ousmane Dembele remains one of the key players in his setup, as Xavi has been pushing for the club to extend his contract no matter what. Of course, over at Paris Saint-Germain, there have been a lot of news lately talking about Kylian Mbappe with some uncertain future. PSG giving him an ultimatum to make up his mind fast by the end of this month, or else they will put him up for sale to the highest bidder out there. Of course, we know Mbappe is quite expensive, and it is difficult to know or to say if actually any of those clubs in Europe, any top club will be able to match his wages, which is currently at £2 million per week, which is quite heavy for any club in the world right now. So Of course, as it stands right now, Usman DembELE is being linked as the sporting director at PSG. Luis Campos knows Dembele very well, and he has been a huge admirer of Ousmane Dembele. So PSG's idea is to maybe go for this player Dembele, as his release clause is quite cheap. According to PSG standard, it's quite cheap, just 50 million euros. PSG can pay that one even with their left hand. But Barcelona will do ensure that they try to hasten up things, because Barca have quite delayed in the the process in order to renew Dembele. Of course, there are certain things that we quite understand that must be agreed with Dembele's representative and Barca, which the Sissoko, whose agent is still in discussion with Deco. They are still not coming to an agreement, but they need to come out with it fast if Barca want to ensure that Dembele is theirs, knowing fully well that the release clause is quite cheap. And of course, more to that, just half of the release clause, if being paid, just 25 million will be Barca's, then 25 will go to Dembele and his agent. That is how it has been stipulated in the contract. So let's see what happens in the future. Then moving on to the final story of discussion, Pedri has become a mainstay for Barcelona in the starting lineup, having established himself as one of Xavi's primary assets. However, injuries have often prevented the Canary Islander from regularly featuring in the squad list. In the past season, Pedri suffered an injury blow in his right thigh, which made him miss the last three league games. However, as per Mundo Deportivo, the 20-year-old prodigy has recovered in time for Barca's upcoming three-season tour, which is set to take place in the US. Pedri will be able to play against Juventus in FC Barcelona's upcoming pre-season matchup. The midfield maestro made the announcement via the Residency app, which lets fans directly converse with their favorite athletes online. The match will take place in Texas on July 23rd. The midfielder additionally acknowledged that he had been training as directed by the team's coaches. On July 10, Pedri and the rest of his teammates are called to report to the Ciudad Deportiva Juan to begin preparing for the pre-season. Pedro will certainly be looking to put his injury woes behind him and start afresh. He recently acknowledged the issue but aspired to be more available. He said, I will try to work hard to be lucky enough to not get injured, to reduce the risk as much as possible, and try enjoying football, he said. The forthcoming pre-season period will allow Pedro to regain his fitness levels as well as recover match rhythm. The player will also be able to acclimatize to Xavi's new dynamics with a chance of familiarizing with the new signings and players called up from the youth ranks. So guys, with that we have come to an end of this episode. Thanks a lot for watching. Until next time, bye bye.